If you want to scale Facebook ads better than 99% of ad agencies out there, then this is the video for you. So make sure you stick around to the end because in this video, I'm going to be showing you exactly how you can scale Facebook ads for your Shopify brand and business in 2025 in a way that is so simple that you could literally execute this from the Ads Manager app on your phone. I'm not even kidding. So make sure you stick around to the end of this video. And without wasting any more time, let's go ahead and dive straight in. So before we get started, who am I and why should you listen to me? If you're new to the channel, my name is Anthony. I've generated over $100 million in advertising revenue for brands. I first started and scaled my first brand to 7 figures. And now I help several brands make the jump from 6 to 7 figures per month. We help this brand go from 70K a month to 915K. This one from 96K to $842,000 a month. And we've even helped brands make the jump from 7 figures to multiple 7 figures. And I make videos like these to give you the skills that you need to not want to break your face against the table when running Facebook ads and to make you more money with less stress. So I'm going to use the example and the case study of an account that we were able to scale. We were able to increase this campaign spend by 300%, a factor of 300%, from spending $78,000 to over $300,000. And we were able to do so while also increasing the total conversion volume by 260% as well, from 1,300 purchases to almost 5,000 purchases from just this one singular campaign. And I want to teach you how you can do the exact same thing or unlock a similar level of scale with this level of simplicity in your business today. So let's go ahead and start with the problem and why you maybe clicked on this video. Because let's face it, every time you increase the budgets, your ROAS takes a massive hit. You start thinking, oh fuck, I went from a 3 to a 2, 2.2. I need to tone it down, reduce the budget back down, right? And then you keep testing new creatives. And when you scale them, they fizzle out. And it feels like no matter what you do, you're handicapped to a certain spend. You probably, let me know if you've ever had that feeling when you're in your ad account, you're trying to scale and you get to a certain level of budget and you can't push without the ROAS just dropping off a cliff like Wile E. the Coyote, right? I just made a Wile E. the Coyote reference and I'm a fucking Gen Z. Anyways, so here's what you're missing, right? What I see time and time again, even with brands that are spending 6 figures a month, 7 figures a month, is they haven't clearly defined what scaling means for their business. And they don't have targets to shoot for as they increase spend. And by the way, saying I can scale as long as I have a 2 ROAS, that's not a target. You can't scale a ROAS target, okay? What I mean is having a clearly defined outcome that you want to achieve when you increase your ad spend. A lot of brands are surprisingly missing this, and because they don't have that, how in the world are you ever going to reverse engineer targets to pass off to your media buyer or to your strategist to actually hit those goals for your business? You can't. So what you have to do is first define scaling, okay? So for growth stage brands, and growth stage brands typically doing at least $1 million to $5 million a month, bootstrapped 99% of the time, that's going to mean more profit in your bank account. You want to scale further so you can unlock more profitability and drive a higher volume of profit into your bank account. For funded brands, it might mean something else. It might mean you want to just max new customer acquisition for a couple of years and then pause acquisition, focus on returning customers, and really increase EBITDA. But most of the time, if you're trying to scale, it's because you want more profit in the bank account. I've not encountered a brand that says, yeah, I want to scale, but I'm okay if I make less money. Now, if you're one of those, then I don't know what to tell you. So we've defined scaling, right? And the way we can define scaling is increasing the volume of our ROI. How much more dollars are coming back into our pockets, essentially, right? And so if that is the definition of scaling, then the effectiveness of our increase in ad spend should be directly measured by how much incremental volume of profit we generate. Meaning, very simply, if I increase my ad spend, am I making more money or am I making less money? That is it. And so your decisions should therefore be informed by your volume of profit, not your return on ad spend. And if you've attempted scaling in the past and reduced your budget back down because you're not hitting a certain ROAS target, I promise you, it's likely that you're fixated on what's happening to your ROAS and not your volume of profit, because volume is ultimately what you can scale. You can scale to a volume target because a volume target says, I need this many customers or I need this much revenue, right? You can't scale a ROAS figure. And I'll show you what I mean in a second here. So what you need to do, right, assuming your OpEx and your margins stay fixed. Oh my goodness, I didn't even realize I created that block like that, okay? What you need to realize is that assuming your OpEx and your margins stay fixed, you will make more profit at lower efficiency so long as you supplement enough volume. Okay? So in this scenario, and this is why first order ROAS could potentially be holding you back, I want you to pay attention to the progression from scenario 2 to scenario 5. Scenario 2, we have a 3x MER or blended ROAS at an ad spend of 50, assuming 55% gross profit margin. We're going to be left with $31,000 in day one profit. In scenario 3, we've dropped our return on ad spend or a blended ROAS from 3 to a 2.75. The only difference being we're now spending $80,000 compared to $50,000, and that $30,000 in a scenario where we're actually spending $30,000 more, we're actually making $40,000 in day one profit, or $7K about in incremental profit. In scenario 4, we're dropped down to a 2.5 ROAS, and as you can see, as long as we keep increasing our volume and supplying sufficient volume to offset the loss in efficiency, we will actually stand to make more profit as we start to scale. And another thing as well, when you scale, pretty much everyone universally agrees that when you scale, your efficiency will decrease. Customers will get more expensive. Your CPAs or cost per acquisitions will increase as you start to increase your spend. It is very unlikely that your customer acquisition costs will decrease as you start to increase spend. So if we understand that, if you are currently in a situation where you're focused on trying to increase your ROAS and not your ad spend, you are going to significantly kill the growth of your business. And yes, I'm not overstating it. I mean it. You are going to literally kill the growth. Like, take it out to the back of the barn and shoot it in the head. Because in order for you to make more money at 50,000, you have to increase your MER. How are you going to do that? Right? Are you going to MER is a function of new and returning revenue. So if you want to generate more new revenue, then you have to get more efficient. But there's only so much efficiency that you can squeeze out of Facebook. And MER is also a function of returning customer revenue. So, but if you're not adding more new customers into the funnel, then where are those returning customers going to come from? You got to be a new customer first to be a returning customer. Your email team and your SMS team can't magically just increase the amount of returning customer revenue if the amount of returning customers is increasing to the business. And that's why volume is really the name of the game when it comes to scaling. And that's why if you're looking at ROAS, you're significantly killing the growth of your business. And you need to understand, so long as you supply a sufficient enough increase in the volume of ad spend, you can offset the loss of efficiency with more volume and walk away with not only more day one profit, but more customers acquired, which means more LTV, which is a longer term benefit of not holding yourself and pigeonholing yourself to an arbitrary ROAS target. Okay. So what you need to do now is, if you want to unlock scale, you need to understand at every incremental level of spend, what your MER, what your new customer CPA, what your metrics across the entire business need to be to justify that increase in spend so that you are making more profit. Ideally, you are setting targets in your ad account at every incremental level of spend that adjust to make sure you're getting an increase in day one profit. And as you can see, that will sometimes mean a loss in MER, a loss in efficiency. Because again, as long as you supply sufficient enough volume, you can offset the loss in efficiency. This should be your profit. That should be, or if you want to get fancy with it, your contribution profit, which is basically your profit after all variable expenses and before all your fixed costs and OPEX. That should be your target. That should determine what your targets then are in the ad account. Okay? Because that is directly aligned with our goals in scaling, which is to increase our volume of profit, not increase our ROAS. We want to increase our volume of profit, how much money we make back into our pocket. So the TLDR is, you need targets at every incremental increase in spend. There is no scenario where you will set one target and that is the only target that you'll ever have for your business. And I hear this all the time from really big brands, guys. Like, we need a 2 ROAS. As long as we're above a 2 ROAS, we can scale infinite. I'm like, how do you know that? How do you know that? Anyways, so the natural question then becomes, what is the most effective way to structure my ad account to make tracking the volume of profit generated as easy as possible so I can make clear decisions on when to increase spend? Okay, how do we make this brain dead easy? So that way we know if we increase our ad spend, are we generating a higher volume of profit? What is the easiest way to structure the account? If you've been watching the channel, then you know what I'm about to get into is the one campaign CBO setup. And it's not one campaign for everything, it's just one campaign per product. But honestly, if you're below $100,000 in spend, you can go with one campaign. Very, very simple. All you're doing is launching new ad sets, which contain new sets of creatives, and you're launching them as tests against your existing ad sets. So what's not shown in here is that you should have a winners ad set, which is basically your top performing ads, okay? I'm not gonna go into the details on this because I have several videos on the channel that talk about the one campaign structure, but essentially you have your winners ad set, you're launching new tests. If your new tests are better than your winners, then they will get spend. And if they improve the overall campaign performance, leave them in. If they hurt the overall campaign performance, take them out, okay? That is the best way to structure your ads for tracking in 2025, okay? And forever for scaling, okay? So the reason why that is the case is because when we are running our ad account, when we're not looking at ROAS targets, because ROAS doesn't tell us anything, what one campaign and consolidated setup allows you to do is it allows you to very easily track the ROI that you're generating from ads, because there's only one variable that you have to keep track of. So you know if you increase your total account spend on one collective set of variables in a CBO campaign, right? If your ad spend goes up and your ROI goes up, it's so much easier to track and control because there's only one campaign, and you're giving the allocation of budget powers over to Facebook. You're saying, I don't know more than Facebook, I never will, and I will allow the predictive algorithm to decide for me what is the best possible allocation of spend for any given day based on all of the assets that I have in the campaign, right? Look how easy it is. If ad spend goes up and ROI goes up, it's so easy to track, right? Now, contrast this with a typical ABO setup, okay? We're gonna look at an ABO setup, okay? In an ABO setup, you have multiple budgets, right? Multiple pockets of ad spend, each generating their own ROI, right? Now, if I were to ask you, let's say you increase the spend, where do I start? Where do I start? Do I start here? Do I scale these ones up because they're lower and I can increase because the ROAS is higher? Or do I start here because it's the biggest one, right? Like if I'm over here, right, and I say, you know what, we're hitting our targets. I want to take my budget from $400 to $800. I just change one budget and I'm off to the races. I'm at $800, right? If I tell a media buyer, I need you to increase my budget on an ABO campaign from $400 to $800, what are they going to do? They're probably going to, okay, let's find the one. Let's look back last 7 days. Whichever one has the highest fucking ROAS is the one that we're going to increase. Right, we'll maybe start with the biggest one because it's a scaling campaign, right? And we need to get these lower ones up, so we'll bring those up, right? So now what you're taking is you're taking your incremental ad spend and you're dividing it up across multiple different budgets. And so instead of like one campaign going up $400, you have smaller campaigns going up $20, $30, $40, okay? Now, imagine trying to track the ROI from your Facebook ad account when you're making all these incremental raises, right? Let's say you do get an improvement in the ROI, right? How do you know which ones are actually leading to that incremental ROI? It's so impossible to track with this setup. How in the world are you going to track the ROI from your ads? You can do it. It's just you're making life so complicated, right? If this one goes up, $100 and this one goes up $50, and let's say my campaign performance only goes up a little bit, okay, which one was responsible for that? And when you have to ask that question, and the only way to find that answer is to rely on in-platform metrics and attribution, which, by the way, attribution doesn't tell you which ads are driving sales. It's telling you which ones Facebook thinks deserve credit based on an attribution window of 7-day click, 1-day view. It's literally just telling you, here's what I think should get credit. Ads don't, just drive sales in a vacuum. You're setting yourself up for a very confusing world, right? Contrast that with this. Look how beautiful that is. If ad spend goes up and ROI from ads goes up, perfect. Super simple. If I want to increase my ad spend, I just increase one budget and I'm good. That's it. I don't pretend to know more than Facebook, I'm not saying guys who run ABO pretend to know more than Facebook. I'm just telling you, especially for larger stage brands, if you're a growth stage brand, you're doing 100K a month, 200K a month, you have traffic from multiple channels. You've got Google traffic. Maybe you're on TikTok. You've got organic. you've got email, you've got SMS, you've got revenue from all these incoming channels that are going to impact the results that you see inside of your ad account, it becomes increasingly difficult to scale. And that is why you should be running, in my opinion, or I won't say you should be, I'm going to say in every account that I've run, I try to run it in a CBO setup, because this to me is the ultimate way to unlock scale. It's to simplify the number of variables and to reduce the number of variables that I have to track so I can focus on one thing. If my ad spend goes up, does my ROI from ads go up? And if it does, budget goes up. That's it. That's simple. And that is how I took this account from scaling. Again, a factor of 300% in ad spend in a single month and 260% increase in conversion volume. Because I have one campaign. Budget goes up as long as the ROI goes up. That is it. That is how you scale. You set targets against the profit of volume that you want to generate, and you simplify your account structure so it becomes very easy to see. It becomes crystal clear the correlation between an increase in ad spend and an increase in volume of total sales and an increase in net profit. So that is going to do it for this video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this one as always. And if you did, and if you got value from it, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe down below. I read all the comments, and this is a new channel for me, so I'm loving all the feedback. Appreciate all the discussions that we're having. Let me know if you agree or disagree, by the way. There's so many ways to run an ad account successfully. This is just my preferred way of doing it. I thought I'd share it with you because I think it's the simplest and it's also the easiest, and it's just what I've had the most success with in running Facebook ads. So if you enjoyed the content, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Now, if you are a Shopify brand that's doing at least $100,000 per month on Shopify, and you want to scale further, let's say to $1 million a month, then book a call with me in the first link in the description. Jump on a call, see if I can help you out. If not, have an amazing rest of the day, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.